Marhaba. Hello and welcome. My name is John Isley, and I'd like to introduce to you Arabic 101 at the College of William and Mary. We are using a new textbook. It's called Arabic Links. In Arabic it's called Kitab التواصل في اللغة العربية. And it's a little bit different than other textbooks, and it's important that you know how it's structured and what the goals are for each part of the chapters and for each chapter. First of all, each chapter revolves around a particular topic or related topics. And the beginning of the chapter introduces you to the basic vocabulary that's going to be used in that chapter to talk about that topic. There may be another section to another module to which introduces a new related set of vocabulary words, but it's all around a particular topic or related topics. And it's important that these things are introduced orally, and you get to know them orally. So the instructor repeats them, and you listen to them, and you repeat them, and then you use them directly in a conversation with the instructor and then with your classmates. That's the basic idea about which each chapter is structured. In addition, every chapter has 4 different types of information contained in it. The first one is the communications goal, and this is what basically you should end up being able to do by the end of the chapter. So for example, in chapter 1, the communications goal is introducing yourself. To say hello, to say goodbye, what your name is, ask the other person what their name is, say a little bit something about what you do, what you study, something perhaps about your mother or father and where they're from, etc. The other part of a chapter, the second part, is called contexts and tasks. And these involve the particular contexts of use, the situations in which you learn the basic phrases and vocabulary which you use to reach the goal of the chapter. In chapter 1, for example, these simply involve situations which you say hello and goodbye to someone, you ask someone for something, please, and then thank you. Classroom phrases, what's the meaning of this? How do I say such and such? Classroom words, such as things as chair, desk, blackboard, screen, things like that. That's what's introduced in a conversational form between the instructor and yourself and your classmates as well. There are also listening sections here, listening tasks, if you will, in which you will listen to something and be asked to answer questions on it. In this section, the writing skill is basically to get you to know the letters. In following chapters, the writing skill will be developed through asking you to write certain types of compositions about the topic of the chapter and things like that. And as well, there will be readings for each chapter about the topics or topic of a chapter. And in this particular chapter, in chapter 1, the readings will be by the end of the chapter. You should be able to read the texts of the conversation that you've been having with your instructor and with each other, using the knowledge that you've gained about the alphabet, the Arabic alphabet, and the phrases that you've learned orally in class. The third section of every chapter is constructs and composition. And this is basically the grammatical portion, the linguistic structure, getting you to look behind the phrases that you've learned orally in class and learn how they're shaped, how they're formed, how they're composed, so that you can then carry on and compose your own phrases to express yourself in new ways, in ways that are not simply repetition of what you've learned orally in class. The fourth section here is culture and community, and this is an important part of this book for several different reasons. First of all, many of you may not have studied the Arab world too much, so you have to learn something about the people and the areas of the world in which this language is spoken, the cultures in which this language is spoken. So every chapter will have about 4 or 5 of these topics, and they range from things like history, geography, art, poetry, and proverbs, and things like that. So in this first chapter, we introduce you to the Arab world. You get to know the expanse of the Arab world from the Atlantic Ocean till the Gulf. We talk about dialects, the linguistic variation in Arabic. And this is carried on throughout each chapter, in which we have a linguistic culture section which exposes you to some aspects of the different dialects in each Arab country that we go through. So a little bit about Moroccan dialect, a little bit about Algerian, Tunisian, etc. And it's important to know from the beginning that you will have to learn an Arabic dialect in order to fully complement the written language that you're learning in this textbook. The bottom of this first page gives you in prose form what is given in the table form above. So, for example, by the end of this chapter, you will gain fluency in introducing yourself to others, including learning several formulaic expressions for use in class, basic greetings, and the basic numbers. And you'll learn the basics of the Arabic writing system, including practice and pronunciation, as well as the first principles of Arabic sentence structure. And you will be introduced to the Arabic language culture, including the basics of Arabic dialect variation, calligraphy, and proverbs. One other thing that should be noted is that this textbook instructs you in Modern Standard Arabic. Modern Standard Arabic is the modern reflex of Classical Arabic, the language of the golden age of Arabic literature in the period from 622 until about 1400 or 1500 or so. The language of the Quran, the most important religious text for Muslims, is in Arabic, and the prayers are said in Arabic, and the Quran is read in the original form in which it was revealed to Muslims many years ago. Modern Standard Arabic is the primary form of written communication in the Arab world, and it also, as that, is the form that you will hear when speeches are given. A speech is written and then it is given in front of a group. News broadcasts are written and then they are delivered in front of the camera. Sometimes this form of the language is used in formal conversations and interviews that you'll see on certain news broadcasts, not everywhere. But it's also the language in which newspapers are written, in which the vast majority of novels are written and stories. So it's an extremely important part of learning Arabic, and it's important that you learn it well, and it's also important that at some point you learn an Arabic dialect well, as I said before. And eventually, if you continue for many years, you should develop a proficiency in understanding dialects that you may not be able to speak very well, but you'll be able to understand. The final point here in the introduction is that Modern Standard Arabic is oftentimes used without case endings. Case endings is one of the most important aspects of Classical Arabic. In Quran recitation, in poetry recitation, it's an extremely important aspect of Classical Arabic, of Poetic Arabic, as opposed to Vernacular Arabic. However, many times you can communicate in Modern Standard Arabic, and many Arabs do this, without fully inflecting for all the different cases. Therefore, what we teach in this textbook is a modified form of Modern Standard Arabic. It's called Educated Spoken Arabic. And you can use it basically without very much problem in any part of the Arab world to make your basic ideas understood. In addition, we provide in each chapter, starting in chapter 2, a step-by-step introduction to the Classical Arabic case system. And this is another important aspect that we try to make a part of this course. However, it's not a central part because communicatively, the case system in Arabic does not carry a great deal of weight. Culturally, however, it is extremely significant and extremely important, as I said, for religious purposes in reciting the Quran and for literary purposes, in reciting modern Arabic poetry or classical Arabic poetry written with full case endings. Now, at the beginning of each chapter, you will learn the basic vocabulary orally with the instructor introducing you to nouns and verbs, and you listen to the instructor and repeat them, and then these words are put into a context of a phrase, of a question usually, in which you answer. The instructor says something and then asks you the question, and basically you respond with a very similar kind of phrase which the instructor just said. So make sure you listen to it and repeat it and get to know the vocabulary in this fashion. In chapter 1, since you don't know the alphabet yet, most of you don't know the alphabet, the basic phrases are written at the beginning of the chapter in Arabic, primarily for the instructor, but there are also in the appendix to the chapter, at the end of chapter 1, every single dialogue and conversation that is being introduced in class is also written in the appendices in both Arabic script, in a Roman or Latin transcription in a form that you can read, and with an English translation. So when you're in class, pay attention to the instructor, listen, repeat, get to know the phrases that you're learning, and then if you need some help outside of class to jog your memory as to what these things, how you exactly say them, or what they mean, then you go to the appendix of chapter 1 and you'll see them there. The vocabulary for the lesson, for each lesson, is listed at the end of every lesson. There will also be vocabulary cards available on Quizlet for each of these chapters for the vocabulary, basic vocabulary for each section. Well, I hope you have a good semester. I hope you enjoy learning Arabic. It is a lot of fun, and it's not as hard as many think. There are many aspects of Arabic which you'll find are not as hard as learning some other languages. For example, the verbal system is not very hard. Some of the sounds are going to be hard for you to approximate, but do your best to approximate them, and eventually, if you do your best and try hard enough, you'll get to have a pretty good pronunciation in which you can communicate without too much of difficulty. So, good luck, رحلة سعيدة, bon voyage, as they say, رحلة سعيدة في اللغة العربية, and learning Arabic